Hey guys, check it out. This $100 range scan tool has the capability to do this to my older BMW. Successful. Also guys, this video is gonna get pretty long because there's so much to cover on this thing, but I'm gonna leave shortcuts to all the different parts in the comments below so you can kind of skip to the part you need so you don't have to watch the whole thing. So I've already made a video on this Mucar CDE900. It's not a bad little scan tool for the price. 50 bucks, does all the OBD2 stuff, and then another like 40, and you can upgrade it to the manufacturer specific like ECM, transmission, ABS, and airbag systems. And you basically can just read all of the faults in those modules and clear fault codes and also see all the data PIDs. Also really quick with the update, they added some more expand stuff and you can get some maintenance reset software. It looks like you have to pay about $16 for each thing. It's there if you need something specific really quick, you could just pay for it. But in this video, I'm going to be checking out their new scan tool, which is the Mucar CDE900 Pro. So this will be interesting to see how it compares to this one. But before we get into the Pro, the regular CDE900 has gone through a few updates since I made the review video on it. You can tell the icons are blue. I think they're kind of just changing their branding a little bit. But the main problem I had with this is when I would switch cars, it kept wanting me to download the OBD2 software again, like over and over and over again. I just tested it out and it seems to work just fine now. I did have to download it the very first time after updating it, but that was it. And I went back and forth between the vehicles and it didn't want me to download it again. So that seems to be fixed. However, some of the scales on the combination graph are still like just changing like crazy. I don't know why they haven't fixed that, but that's a little bit annoying. Hopefully they'll fix it someday, but hopefully we won't have any problems with the new one. So just a little bit of an overview. This one was about $50 or so, and this one's about $100 or so. And both of them can be upgraded to add more stuff, but that costs money once you buy it. So that's just a heads up. And we're gonna go over all of the upgrades and the pricing here in a little bit. However, with the Mucar stuff, it seems once you pay for it, you get it for the lifetime. So you're not paying like a yearly subscription like some of these scan tools. The cool thing about the Pro is that you can upgrade it to do pretty much anything a Pro scan tool can do. So you can access all of the modules in pretty much every vehicle, and you can get all of the special maintenance functions and reset functions and stuff like that. And you can also get bi-directional activation tests, which are really handy if you're trying to diagnose stuff. And full disclosure guys, Mucar did send me the CDE900 Pro as well. However, I like to keep these reviews brutally honest and let you guys know if I find any problems, just like with that one. But here's a little bit of information on the back. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time here, but let's go ahead and unbox this thing and check that out. It's definitely a little bit bigger. We got a bigger screen, and both of these are Android based, which is pretty handy. Let's see what it comes with. Some instructions, some desiccants. And this one has a detachable OBD cable, which is pretty nice. This one had it attached, so if something breaks, then you could always like solder or crimp a new one of these on. But having this is just a little bit nicer for storage sometimes. And then of course it comes with a USB to USB-C cable. You use this to charge it, and I believe you could probably connect it to your computer and transfer some files, because this is basically a little Android tablet. Here they are next to each other, about the same thickness, pretty close. And I kind of like the sideways design a little bit better personally. And it basically has the same button layout, a little bit bigger screen, a rubbery, durable coating on them, so they're not gonna break really easily. But anyways, we got the port and then the power button, got a micro USB port and then the USB-C port. And also according to the instructions, this is a reset button. Just be able to hold down the power button and it powers on. Takes a little time, just like any of these scan tools. All right, and we can select our language. I like how these are touchscreen. Select English, And I'll connect to my Wi-Fi. And of course I didn't show my password for obvious reasons, but we're connected to Wi-Fi. We're still on this screen actually, you just have to hit next. Okay, try that again. I'll just hit next. What? So I don't know why it keeps going back here. This tells you all this stuff. Let's see if we can just, okay, just go through all that really quick. I don't know why it keeps going back to the same thing. Right, okay. So it tells you, basically kind of goes through how to use it. Oh, really? Problem, just keeps asking your language and Wi-Fi and goes through this stuff over and over and over again. Okay, well, we're back here. Hold on, I'm just gonna hold down the power button and we'll try to reboot it and see if it works. Okay, so it booted back up and let's go ahead and try that again. And it looks like it's working. But yeah, we are connected to my network. But anyways, it's not kicking us back out like it was. So let's go to update and we'll go ahead and update the OBD2 software. And that was pretty darn quick. So at least it's not causing issues. So when you buy this, it just comes with the OBD2 software. That's pretty much all you get. And if you want to expand it, you can click on expand. And then this is where you can get all of the good stuff. And let's go through everything. The first one is vehicle software. And single car model software can be purchased. Single model is full system, full function, free lifetime upgrade. So hit expand. And it looks like it's $59.95 for each brand. And I like how you can get Toyota and Lexus. It comes with both of them. It has brands from all over the world. I'm here in the United States, so we got like Mazda, and you can get Nissan, Infiniti, GTR, Mitsubishi, Mercedes, Land Rover, Jaguar. Get those both together. Kia. We'll go back, and then the next one is multi-system software. Just click expand. So this is the full system, basic function, lifelong free upgrade is available. So that's pretty cool. And that costs $99.95. And then over here, we got the 4-in-1 package. And basically that's the same package that we got with that one. However, we don't have this full system, basic function package available for that one, just the Pro. But anyways, we'll go back and then we have maintenance reset software. So click on that. And this is pretty cool. It's kind of like that one where you could buy an individual thing for $15.95, or you can get all 28 resets with free lifetime upgrades for $79.95. So those are all of your upgrade options. The only thing I wish they would do is give you an option to basically buy all of the manufacturers full system function for, like, you know, a set price like 150 or something like that. That would be pretty cool. I just want you guys to be aware when you buy this scan tool that you're gonna have to pay more money if you want the full functionality. But if everything works, I think this would be a great starter scan tool to get. But anyways, I'm gonna get some upgrades and then we can really see what this thing can do. And to upgrade it, you can do the T-code exchange. I believe you can buy it online. It basically gives you a code to enter, or you can use a credit card. And apparently you can pay right here through the scan tool, which is kind of cool. The nice thing about having an Android based scan tool. But anyways, I'll be right back. This is just the updates for the different manufacturers, but if you go to app, you can download and install the system update. And I kind of already started it, so just go ahead and finish that and make sure everything's up to date. Okay, so that updated the actual Mucar software on the device. So we are up to date as far as that goes. And then if you click on OTA, there's a system update. And I'm guessing this is like the Android system. But there's a new version for it, so go ahead and download and update this as well. That was pretty fast. So yeah, it's actually updating the Android operating system. So it stayed on that start screen for quite some time, but it finally powered up. Okay, so we got the full system basic function software, extend it, and the all reset under the maintenance reset software, extend it as well. And right now we don't have any of the single model full system full function, but let's go back and you can see the home screen has changed. All the OBD stuff is right here on this window. And you can go to the extra stuff right there, and then we have the reset and the manufacturer specific scanning. Let's go to settings, update, and if you did pay for it and it's not showing up, hit this button right here and it kind of just reloads everything. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and hit start all, and those are gonna start downloading. And I'm just gonna leave it while I'm at work. Plug it into the USB-C port right there. You can see it's charging so it doesn't die while it's updating everything, because it's got quite a bit. All right guys, we'll start out here on the 4Runner, and I went ahead and made the fault that I always make in these videos to test out these OBD readers, and I just got a little bit of a charge going on it so we don't kill the battery. Anyways, let's go ahead and hook it up to the OBD port. 4Runner one is right over here, and it comes up with this screen that tells you to turn on the ignition. All right, key is on, engine off, start. And just like the other CD900, it's gonna start scanning right from the home page. It's a lot different than a lot of other scanners I've used, but hopefully it won't take too long. And while we're waiting, I like how they added this on the side. It tells you the time, the battery of the device, and the battery voltage of the vehicle, which is super handy. And it's also got Wi-Fi, and you can see we're not connected because we're probably a little too far from inside the house. And it didn't even take that much time to bring up the OBD2 emissions monitors, and you can see that a lot of my monitors haven't been set yet, just because I really haven't driven this vehicle at all since the last time I was testing out an OBD reader. I got a lot of stuff going on back here, and that's going to be for another video. The thing I like about the old one and this one is you can screenshot stuff. So if you pull down from the top, it brings up this little quick menu, and I like this one so much better. The other one, I had some issues bringing this down. It's just the touchscreen wasn't as reactive, but this one is right on point. And we got the brightness of the device right here. Then we got the Wi-Fi menu. We've already went through that thing on the side. Brings that up. And you can turn the Wi-Fi on or off. It's got some shortcut menus right here that bring up stuff on the side. It kind of just like overlays them on top of each other. But this one is the help menu. So I guess we could click, oh, we have to have an internet connection. But this one is just a screenshot if you need to screenshot something. It said saved a photo album, but I like how you can bring those up really quick and take them away. And this one I'm gonna really use a lot when I make videos, and that's screen recording. So click right there, it's starting recorder, and then it just records the screen. However, it is kind of in the way of this button, but you can still get to it. And there we are, a lot easier to see what I'm doing, a lot easier to make videos actually. But let's go ahead and hit the top bar with the smog, and it just brings up more details about the emissions monitors. And basically these are useful if you're gonna have your emissions done. All of these monitors have to be set. The red ones just haven't gone through all the testing while you're driving to make sure everything's good, but eventually those would turn green after you drive for a little while. Usually the evap monitor is the one that takes the longest, and the gray ones are just not equipped on this vehicle, so we don't have to worry about it. Yeah, if you try to click on any of them, nothing comes up, but that's fine. We'll click on report at the bottom and see what that is. Oh cool, it gives you a little emissions monitors report. Doesn't have the year, the VIN. This vehicle is just too old. It doesn't carry that information on the ECU as far as I know. It's a 99. They start at OBD2 in 96. But anyways, we'll go back And just to let you guys know, everything I'm doing right now is included with this device. So you don't have to pay extra for all the OBD2 software that's included. And it's still pretty useful for things. But anyways, below that on the right side, this little square is all of the OBD stuff. So right here, let's go to code/freeze frame, and it brings up another menu to go to either one. So we'll start with read codes, and we could choose the model if we want. It might be a little bit more specific. If you have just the OBD2 software, I'm not sure if it comes with all the other stuff. It just brings up the generic stuff. So we'll just click on that one, and it looks like our mass airflow sensor circuit, the P0100 and a P0110, which is the intake air temperature circuit, bank 1. And that's obviously because we just unplugged the mass airflow sensor, and the intake air temp is part of that. I do like how this one says the status of each code. These are current. You can also have a pending code, which means it think it might have a problem, but it's not completely sure. And eventually, if it has the fault enough times, it depends on a lot on the vehicle and the year and everything, but eventually if it keeps having that problem, it's going to set a current fault. And then 2009 or newer vehicles will have something called a permanent fault. So if you get a current fault, it's going to also set a permanent fault, which will not go away when you delete it. You actually have to drive it, and it has to make sure that that fault is gone before it gets rid of the permanent fault. It's kind of annoying, especially if you're trying to get emissions done. They kind of got smart, but it seems like they just keep adding like newer stuff to the newer vehicles to like prevent people from, you know, passing emissions. It's kind of a pain sometimes because there are some cars that like take a long time for a permanent fault to go away, or it just has trouble altogether, and the ECU or the PCM needs to be like reprogrammed by the dealer. But anyways, I don't think this is going to work, but there's a little search button on the side of each code. And yeah, the network's not available. Let me go ahead and try to connect to the hotspot on my phone. Okay, I connect it to my Wi-Fi. So let's go ahead and hit that button again. And it basically just types it into Google. Let's go ahead and click on the first one. Doesn't seem to be working if I click on it. The internet browser on this thing is not working very well. I keep clicking on it. It's like it's gonna load, but it doesn't. Let's try the second one. Okay, this time it worked on the second one. Cost of diagnosing. And it kind of gives you all the things that could cause it. There's a lot of like things that can cause faults. I mean, one thing I will say about these scanners, it's not gonna like just tell you what part to replace. It's just a tool, and it can help guide you if you really know what you're doing on what to replace or what test to do next, because it's best to just actually test stuff instead of just guess. When you're kind of just getting into trying to fix cars, you'll start wanting to guess, but it's better to test. Anyways, a lot of information in there. We'll go back and we'll click on code and freeze frame, and let's check out the freeze frame. I always forget to check this out before I erase the codes, but it's taking a little bit of time. There we go. If there's multiple faults, I don't know if it just has one freeze frame for like the very first fault. I don't know how to look at freeze frames for each individual fault, or if that's even possible, or maybe that's just something on newer vehicles. I have no idea, but it just comes up with one. It is handy. It does tell you the DTC that caused the freeze frame data, so you're not kind of just guessing on which code the freeze frame data is for. And it's negative 40 degrees. That's kind of the default when it's not connected, but that's kind of cool. You can save sample. And yeah, all these buttons at the bottom just look like the normal buttons we're going to have when we're looking at actual data PIDs that are live and changing. Go ahead and hit back, and you can either hit that one or back on the scan tool or back at the home screen. And before we erase the codes, let's go ahead and probably best to turn the key off, and we'll plug the mass airflow sensor back in until it clicks. Turn the key on, engine off. But now let's go ahead and erase codes. Asks if you want to erase them, and the engine off, key on. So click yes, and in process, please wait. Might take a little bit of time. DTCs have been cleared, and you can give them feedback if you have an issue with something. But anyways, let's go to, at the top it says other OBD diagnostic stuff. So we have the O2 sensor test, which I don't think works really on this vehicle. It's just too old, but we can try it and it might actually work. So we have all the test results right here. There's a lot of stuff to like figure out exactly what it's doing, what it's testing, and what everything means, but I need to still dig into that and click on other stuff. Again, version info. And the car model does not support this function. Not surprising, so click yes. And then I know the evap system test does not work on this car. You definitely need a newer car to be able to do this. Yep, unavailable for this vehicle, so I'll go back. Hold on, let's make sure those faults went away. Recodes, generic, no fault codes. So the check engine light is gonna be gone. The last thing on that page was the DTC lookup. I haven't actually needed to use this function, but I guess it's here. Like if you're talking to someone, they're like, oh, I got this code, you can look it up right here. So we'll do P0100, and it just tells you right here on the screen what it is. And of course you can do the Google search like we did before. Oh, and then we have onboard monitor, and this is a lot of more useful information that I still need to learn more about, because I mean, there's always stuff to learn. And now the last thing for the OBD2 software on this tool is the live stream data. Brought it all up, but let's go ahead and start the vehicle. I'm gonna take the charger off real quick. So it looks like all the data PIDs are working. And right there it says number of DTCs stored in this ECU is 0. We got throttle position, calculated load value, engine coolant temp, fuel trims. Those are really useful for diagnosing, but we're still in open loop because it's not hot enough. So we got to wait until that thing. Oh, we just entered closed loop. It was open loop a second ago. Now the short-term fuel trim should be working. But anyways, if we click on one of the data PIDs, we can see a graph just for that data PID. So here's the mass airflow sensor, and I would assume if we rev it up, that'll go up as well. Pretty nice to pull up a graph just super fast for each data PID. So let's go ahead and take a look at all of the buttons down below the data PIDs. And as you can see, some of the data PIDs are red and some of them are blue. And to make that make a little bit more sense, we can go ahead and save a sample, and it starts recording all of the data PIDs. So let's go ahead and rev it up some. Okay, that's kind of weird. The data PIDs don't seem to be changing. Or like it's really behind. If you look at the absolute throttle position, it's 9%, and that should change when we rev it up. And it's not changing. And I think it has something to see. It kind of just changed, like it's on a really bad delay, which is not too good. Those should be changing a lot quicker. But anyways, I went ahead and hit the stop button. For each data PID, it just saves the high and the low. And then you can hit save down here and you can name it. The recorder is in the way of the P, so I'll just say SAM test. There's that little button on the upper left-hand corner of the keyboard to make it go down. But anyways, let's go back, and then we can hit compare sample, and there it is right there, SAM test. So we can click that, and it'll basically either make it red or blue according to that sample that you took, so you know if something's out of range. Definitely useful if you're trying to diagnose something. However, the problem with this is like it's way laggy, super laggy. I was hoping we weren't gonna have any problems with the scan tool, but it seems like we are. So I'll go ahead and disconnect it and then reconnect it. We also did have like key on, engine off, and I was turning it on and off a bunch of times, so maybe that has something to do with it. But let's just restart it and see if we can get it to work right. And it's just gonna recheck everything. It does take a little bit of time, that's for sure. I would say that those like smaller, like really quick OBD scanners are a lot faster, but that seems to be the norm when you get like a more advanced scan tool, it usually takes longer. But anyways, let's go ahead back to live stream data, and hopefully we don't have that lag, or else that's gonna be a problem. Got everything here, and let's go to compare sample. But absolute throttle position, that should go up. See, it does change, it's just a little laggy. If we go to look at RPM, holding it at 15. I mean, all of these tools are usually a little bit laggy, but it just seemed like it was lagging more than usual. But anyways, we also have a report function, so click on that. Generating report, please wait. There's a lot of waiting involved. Okay, so I guess this just gives you like a PDF version of a report, which is actually pretty useful, and you can email it, you know, to yourself. Just saves all of the data PIDs, which is pretty neat. But anyways, we'll go back, and then let's try combine. So we'll do short-term bank 1 fuel trim, long-term fuel trim, engine RPM, and load value. And you can only bring up 4 on the graph at one time, so we'll hit OK. And we got the graph, and it looks like it's doing the exact same thing as the original CDE900. You can see blue engine RPM. It'll tell you the data PID. It's down below, and then you kind of can match it up on the graph, but you can see the blue engine RPM. It just keeps changing the scale on the side. It just goes crazy. And maybe it's just this vehicle that's causing it to do that, but it's not very useful to have those go all over the place. Everything else seems to be mostly good, except the orange short-term fuel trim. Just the very bottom one below the -5, it just starts going crazy as well. I don't know why they can't fix this. Can't see why something like that is that hard to fix. But other than that, the graph itself seems to be pretty nice. And we can see the short-term fuel trim is switching a little bit lean and a little bit rich, like it should be. It's looking good. And we can see the long-term fuel trim, the green, is about -2.5 right there on the graph, because that scale seems to be doing just fine. And then we have the calculated load value, but let's go ahead and rev it up. And you can see the graph changed, you know, fairly quickly. It's gonna have a little, all these have a little bit of lag. Pretty useful stuff. I have a video on my van where I was diagnosing a lean condition, and I used the graphing, and it helped a lot. So if you guys want to check that out, I actually used a different scan tool, the launch one, where the graphs didn't have this problem. As you can see, the long-term fuel trim is doing the same thing now. It's just kind of going crazy. If they would just fix this, these tools would be pretty darn nice, but that's my main thing so far. But anyways, let's just go back, get out of the graphing for now, to the home screen. But anyways, next, let's go over to the bar on the right side below a little information square. We'll just hit report. Okay, so it saves like the reports, which is pretty handy. Like if you forget something, you don't have to hook it back up to the vehicle, especially if you like look at someone's vehicle and you need to see what faults it had, like you forgot or something. You can come back here, and it's got the data stream report, other. That's pretty cool. It saves all your stuff here. But anyways, let's go back to the home screen again, and we'll check out the settings really quick. So up at the top, it's got your serial number, and it's got a little QR code for that. It's pretty handy. They have an app that you can use with this. It's called Think Car Bay. I guess it can like help with some stuff. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't looked into it. Next to that is repair info, and this is kind of just where you learn how to use the device, like right here, instruction. And that's awesome because I don't like keeping paper instructions. I usually just throw them away. But if you need to find something, it's right here. It's pretty long too. It gives you a lot of useful information on how to use the device. And then below that, we got video, and it doesn't look like we have anything. And then over here, we have coverage list. So here you can see if there's like actual coverage for a specific vehicle. So just to keep in mind, like for if you're using stuff other than OBD2 on like a brand new vehicle, like right now 23, probably not gonna work as well, just because they haven't really caught up with all of the new stuff. I guess it just depends on if the manufacturer changed a bunch of stuff. It might take the time for like aftermarket companies to catch up, and that's pretty much true for like all of these scan tools. Like stuff that's just coming out, you're not gonna have it work. But I mean, if you have a brand new vehicle, you're probably not using a scan tool like this on it. You're probably just taking it to the dealer because it's got warranty and everything. But anyways, we are already here at the update, and I actually updated like 10 of them before I started this video. They update all of the manufacturer specific stuff pretty often. But anyways, below that we have the app update, about the current version because we already updated it, and we got a browser below that. Look stuff up on Google. I'd rather just use my phone. Oh, and then here's the Think Car Bay Service Center. So I guess it just tells you everything about their Think Car Bay app. And another thing I will mention, if you guys have heard of Think Car, they make a lot of good scan tools as well. Mucar is just part of Think Car, and I didn't know that at first until I went on the Think Car website. And I actually have like a Think Car scan tool as well. I bought that with my own money, and that one requires like a yearly subscription versus this one that you pretty much pay one time. But I was on their website and I noticed Think Car had all the Mucar stuff on there. Or maybe it's like a more economical brand of Think Car. I have no idea. But anyways, below that we have clear data. I guess we can clear diagnostic software, restore factory settings, and then we have firmware fix. So I guess if you're having like pretty big problems, you can try this. And automatically send reports. Oh, and I guess this is where you can send it to your email. So I'll just type in my email real quick. And then below that we have help. Guess this just has some like questions and answers, troubleshooting, stuff like that. And then below that we have system update, but that's basically the Android software on the device itself. Then we have about, gives you all the information of the device itself. But anyways, up here I think we forgot about feedback. So I guess if you're having a problem, you can send them a report, especially if it's like specific to a model year or certain VIN, and you have a log or something, you can send that to them and hopefully they'll be able to fix it in an update. So I might go through this later and tell them about the graph issue that I'm having. Maybe I can send them a video and maybe they'll get that fixed. It might only be like certain vehicles. But anyways, we'll go back to the settings again. Oh yeah, so here's all like the file stuff, and we got the screenshots and the photo album. Here's that screenshot I took earlier. Pretty useful if you have some important information you want to screenshot really quick. And right now I'm screen recording, so I don't want to mess with that. And we also have file manager. And we got the internal storage, and I did put a SD card in here. However, it doesn't seem to use the SD card for a whole lot. It seems to save all of the screen recordings to the internal storage. However, you can move it over manually. And on this screen, there's no back button. And if you hit home, nothing happens. So you just got to hit the back button on the device. That is one thing having the physical buttons is useful for, I guess. Down here, we have some more settings like the Wi-Fi. We've already gone through that. The language, English, time zone, America, Denver, and you can choose your sleep time when the screen goes out all by itself so you don't kill the battery. And then unit of measure, not sure what that does. Customer service, 24-hour format, I just use regular, and then brightness, which is some of the stuff is accessible from that drop down menu, but I think that's everything in the settings. So we'll go back to the home screen. So that's everything you get included with the device without paying for any upgrades. You just get all of the OBD2 stuff. But let's go ahead and check out the upgraded content and let's see what we have on this Toyota here. But I'm gonna go ahead and turn the engine off and connect the battery charger again. All right, so key on, engine off, but we'll check out the little box on the left-hand side. So we'll click auto search and do a VIN scan. It's not gonna work on this vehicle, but it looks like you can enter the VIN manually. But instead of doing that, let's go ahead and go back and we'll hit scan. just click on everything manually. So it's Toyota, but it's loading. Please wait. There is a lot of waiting on this tool. More advanced scan tool, they're all kind of like this. Set area, and we want to do North America. But we'll hit the 16 pin. This is just your basic OBD2 port. However, you can access other stuff through it usually. I will say, like older vehicles, like my van, the ABS module, there's a separate connector that you have to like, you know, wire the pins to. However, you can do it with one of these scan tools. You just have to connect the pins correctly, like kind of manually. It's a little bit of a pain, and I actually made my own adapter. But anyways, we'll click on Forerunner, and it's got all the information that it wants you to confirm, but that looks to be correct. So we'll hit OK. So we have a bunch of stuff here. Let's go ahead and hit Health Report. And it's scanning 75%. It's just going through all of the modules. It's not a whole lot. This thing's old. And it looks like we got a little green check mark on everything. Don't have any faults in this vehicle. Let's just go to the immobilizer, and gives you a notice. Determines whether or not to disable starting the engine depending on a comparison of the key's ID code and the vehicle's pre-registered code. So yeah, this has a little key chip in the key, which definitely makes it a bit harder to steal, which is nice. My van doesn't have that. It's just a regular key blade. Like all someone has to do is like jam a screwdriver in there and they'll be able to steal my van. So I have to take a lot of precautions on that thing, like put a security system in it and some other stuff. Go ahead and click OK. And now we're in the immobilizer. We'll read the fault code. I don't think I have any fault codes. No trouble codes. Read the data stream. That's pretty cool. Let's check this out. Oh, that's kind of cool. It tells you the key discrimination. So it's the master key. And then we have the registered key number. It's number 3. Hold on, guys. I'm going to be right back. I have a spare key for this. I want to put that in there and see if it shows up as a different key number. So I did turn it off to go get the other key. And now it says not support it. But that makes sense because it's not on. But let's go ahead and stick the key in. Here, let's go back. So this is the same thing, registered key number 3, master. And I think that actually makes sense because I just had them clone this key at the store. So it's basically an exact copy of this key. But anyways, it's kind of interesting. Stick that back in. But anyways, we'll go back and hit special functions. Oh, wow, interesting. So it looks like you can program keys in here, but it's got a lot of stuff here. Transponder code erasure. So if you're like missing one of your keys or someone has it and you don't want them to access the vehicle, you could potentially turn it off. But if you have a cloned key that you got cloned at the store, it's going to think it's the same one. But anyways, I might have to buy one of these that's blank and then see if I can code it to the car. Maybe I'll make a separate video on that because this is going to get way too long. But it's a lot of interesting stuff in here. But anyways, I'm not going to try any of this stuff right now. I don't want to screw anything up at the moment because I just got too much going on. Let's go back, click on ECM, ECT, which is the engine and transmission module. I believe it's all one part on this vehicle. Some cars have separate modules for the engine and the transmission. But we can go ahead and hit scan. And let's read the fault code. No trouble codes. Oh, interesting. I have actuation tests. So this is like basically your bidirectional control. Okay, so I was kind of surprised to see activation tests for the Toyota because they told me they just gave me the full single model software for the BMW. Okay, so here we are back in the actuation tests, and let's go ahead and try something like the fuel pump. Click on it, gives you a description. Test activates the fuel pump, control on, off, available commands, and this is pretty nice. It tells you to operate with ignition on, engine off, shift selector in park. So go ahead and hit OK. And then next we can monitor data or have no monitoring data. And this is pretty nice. Like if we click on monitoring data, we can bring up data PIDs. So like when we activate something, we can look at the data PIDs and see what they're doing. So It's very helpful when you're diagnosing stuff. But it's taking a little bit of time. There's a lot more data PIDs in the manufacturer specific side compared to OBD2. Okay, so we can look at all of the data PIDs here, and then we have the controls at the bottom. So we'll just look at the fuel pump. It's currently off. We'll turn it on. And it's running. I hear it. It says it's on, however, I don't hear it on. Well, let's click it off. Yeah, it's quite a bit of a delay. So right now it says the fuel pump's off. Let's try to click it on. After I press it, let's just wait for a little bit. There it goes. It's just a bit of a delay. It says it's off, but it runs for a little bit and then it turns off. But yeah, these data PIDs are on quite a bit of a delay, which is pretty unfortunate. So it says the fuel pump's still on, and it'll probably turn off in just a little bit. Hold on, let's go back. It might be just laggy because it has all of the data PIDs pulled up at once. I'm not sure if you could select just specific ones, but let's just click on fuel pump again and then do no monitoring data. It might not be as laggy. All right, so fuel pump off. Let's turn it on. It's a bit of delay. There it goes. It's on now. It's definitely like a 5-second delay. That is pretty cool that it does work though. Oh, you guys can hear it. Listen. It's staying on this time. We'll go ahead and click it off. And you could hear the relay in there click. That time it turned off as soon as I pressed it. Let's try to turn it on again. There it goes. It's quick now. So that is pretty cool. It does work. It just seems like with all of the data PIDs, it just makes everything super laggy. Just kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. Anyways, let's go back and look at all the stuff we have. We have the lockup solenoid. That's for the torque converter. That's super neat. So we have quite a few things here. Definitely not anything compared to like a newer vehicle, as you'll see in my BMW in just a little bit. Click on shift. And this test changes the vehicle shift position. That's pretty handy. But for the lockup solenoid, that's super handy if like someone has torque converter shutter and you want to confirm it is the torque converter. You could have someone drive it. And it says activates the lockup solenoid, and it tells you the vehicle speed has to be 36 miles an hour or more. That is super handy. Let's go over to the purge valve. Seems to be like a little kind of iffy with the scan tool. Like if I click on something, it kind of doesn't work here and there. We'll do no monitoring data. So the purge valve is off right now. Let's go ahead and click it on. Let's give it a little bit of time. Okay, so it says it's on right now. So let's go ahead and give it a listen. Oh guys, it's working. Do you hear it? It's clicking. Oh, it's this guy right here. This is the vent solenoid, I believe. That's cool though. It actually works. Turns off pretty quick. Turn it on. I hear it again. It's weird. It's not. Once you do it a couple times, it's faster. It's kind of weird. But anyways, we'll go back and let's try the idle air control duty. Vehicle needs to be stopped. Ignition on. Engine on. Oh, the engine has to be on. Hold on, let's go ahead and start. Oh, let me disconnect the battery charger and start it up. All right. Engine on. Ignition on. Let's hit OK. No monitoring data. So the IAC is at 54%. We'll click the little next button, see if that changes anything. Oh yeah, it's a little bit of a delay, but We're at 55. I heard the RPM go up a little bit. That's cool. 57. Let's keep clicking it up. It's getting higher. Do you guys hear that? 62%. This definitely works. 66, 67. Hold on, let's input 100. Bring it up to 100. Oh crap. The little recorder is in the way. Oh, it just went back down. It's out of range. I guess it doesn't like 99%. Let's try 87%. Okay. Oh, okay. I think that might be working. Let's see if the RPM goes up. It says processing, so. Wow, it works. It's a little slow, but it does the job. Back. That is so cool how we can test stuff like that. I'm not gonna go through every single thing. It's got injector volume. That seems like it could be pretty handy. Anyways, let's go back and let's just read the data stream, and you guys can see how much of a difference between OBD2 and the manufacturer side. But you see the AC monitor not available. AC cut signal is on. Let's go ahead and turn the air conditioning on. See if that changes. Off. So it is a little bit of a delay, but not too bad. There's a lot of stuff. Automatic transmission fluid temperature. That's handy, so you know like how hot the transmission is when you check the fluid level, because usually there's a certain temperature range that's best to check it in. Calculate load value. Raise the RPM. Yeah, it's definitely got a little bit of a lag. Let's go ahead and try to combine a few of these things. Calculate load value. Obviously can't do everything because it's like got a word on it, but we'll do coolant temp. So I guess you can only combine things on one screen. There was like 9 screens and you have to kind of like pull it up to go to the next screen. That's probably so it doesn't get like way too laggy, because if you have too many data PIDs at once, like it's just gonna get crazy laggy. And still we have that same problem with the graph. We're just gonna go 0 to just random numbers, really. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Anyways, let's go back and see. Yeah, you just have to kind of pull up to go to the next screen. See, right now we're on 3 out of 9. Oh, and that's super handy that we didn't get with the OBD2 was the misfire counter. And right now 1 through 4 is all 0. That's good. Let's go to the next screen. Hopefully that has 2 through 6. Yeah, 5, 6, 7. We only have 6 cylinders on this, but definitely a lot more stuff here to look at. Like the idle air control duty ratio. I don't think we had that in OBD2. It has all your transmission stuff because this is all one module. So it tells you what gear you're in. Reverse is off. So let's go ahead and put it in reverse. Reverse just turned on. And then neutral, drive. But anyways, guys, I could spend a whole lot of time, you know, doing this on the 4Runner, but let's go ahead and check out the BMW. We can do a whole lot more stuff on there, and I think it'll be pretty interesting. But anyways, guys, that's probably enough for the 4Runner. This thing being a 99, there's just not a whole lot of options compared to like something like my BMW. So let's go ahead and go in there and check that out, because that's going to be pretty sweet, I think. Okay, so as I was getting the screen recorder ready and recording on my phone, the smog data showed up, and you can see all of our emissions monitors are ready because they're all green. I'm not going to go into the OBD2 side on this car because it's just going to get repetitive, but let's go ahead and go to auto search. And it looks like the VIN is already pulled up, so that's pretty cool. So BMW 2007, 525. I guess you can just click on it, click on the VIN, and it's loading, and it gives us the option to automatically search or manually select. So let's try the automatic search first, and it gives us all of the information. Make sure it's correct. It looks good, except country. I don't know what DEU is. It should still work, so let's hit next. And it says to ensure accuracy of the test, turn off the ignition switch, wait 10 seconds, turn on the ignition switch. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll wait 10 seconds. And now turn it back on, hit OK. And we can do a health report, system scan, or system selection. So let's just do the health report for now. This car has a lot of modules, so this is probably gonna take a while. I do like on this menu that we still have that little information block on the right-hand side. So we got our battery voltage, which is 11.76. All right, guys, it finished the health report and it tells you how many DTCs there are on the side. And it looks like we have 8 fault codes. So it looks like it just leaves you with the modules that it was actually able to communicate with. And it puts all of the modules with the DTCs at the top. And you can see the ABS, SGM, SRS sign, SCM, LM, and IHKA. And it's cool, it tells you the fault codes right below each module, so you don't even have to access each one. And then below all of the modules with fault codes is all the rest of the modules that don't have fault codes. They have a green check mark. And we also have an option to clear DTCs. But anyways, let's look at the SZM. And I do have an issue with the steering column where it kind of just forgets where it's at, because usually when you turn off the car, the steering wheel goes up, so it's easier to get in and out. And then when you start it, it goes back down. On scan for the steering, we can hit read fault code, and it's the same one we already saw. But yeah, I think that's really cool. It shows you all the fault codes right there, so you don't have to click a bunch of buttons to look at them all. So we can clear that one fault code. And we can also go to the data stream. And we got a whole bunch of stuff in here. I guess it's got all the seat stuff in here as well. We'll just click both of those, and it has the angle. You can see the angles change as we move it. But anyways, let's go back, and you can see there's 7 TTCs. So that one we cleared appeared to have gone away for now. But let's go ahead and just try to clear them all out. The thing about a lot of these newer cars is like all the modules will have like fault codes in them, and a lot of times none of that really matters. The only time I would worry about fault codes in like a newer vehicle is if you actually have a problem you're trying to solve. A fault code could definitely help you solve it, but just because you have a fault code stored in there doesn't mean you really have a problem. So it gives you a note here. Just click OK, and now it says it's all green. But anyways, let's go back. So we did the health report. Let's try system scan, see if that's much different. Okay, so this is a little bit different, but that worked pretty darn fast. It just doesn't tell you if there's a fault code in the module. And then we can go into each individual module. Let's go into the SZM again. Yeah, so there's no activation tests or anything for that one. Let's go to the FRM. There's no activation tests here either. Okay guys, it has been quite a long time since the last part of the video, just because I was having some issues with the full version of the BMW software. And what had happened is that I updated it, and since they have this kind of upgraded on the back end, so I could test it out for you guys, it got rid of the BMW full software. And now I have everything, all vehicles, says purchased, but they just did that on the back end so I could test this out. And also, since the last time, it has gone through a lot of updates. They put updates out for everything quite often, so you have to make sure to stay on top of that so everything hopefully is working okay. It looks like we got everything that we need up to date. The system software is all the latest version. We can click on OTA, make sure this is updated. Yep, the Android system is updated to the latest version, and all of the manufacturer vehicle software is updated. All right, real quick, let's do a real world example. And this is my 96 Ford Econoline van. And I had the battery disconnected because I was doing some welding on the exhaust system. Made a custom exhaust. So it got rid of all of my emissions monitors, and I have to get it emissions tested within the next few days because my registration is about to expire. And I did like 2 drive cycles, so I want to see if the monitors are set. I love that dinging noise. It's always fun. And it said the scan failed, so that's a pretty big bummer. Maybe it's that thing that the non-pro version was doing where it would pull up the eOBD2 instead. That really sucks. Try it one more time. And by the way, the key is on, so I mean it should be coming up. And it failed again. Hit cancel. Let's see if we can go in manually. See if we can even read the codes. It doesn't even work. And to show you guys that it should work with this vehicle, I just have a Mucar like basic OBD scanner and jump starter all in one. And this just turns on when you plug it in. Let's go over to emission monitors. And it looks like the cap monitor has not been set yet. So we still need to drive it around until that turns green. We're back from a trip, and it looks like all the monitors are ready. So we should be able to get it emissions tested tomorrow. Okay, so here we are back in the BMW, and we have a lot more options here now that we have the BMW software fully unlocked. And it looks like it added coding and programming. That's pretty cool. I don't know if I'm gonna try that out because this video is getting way too long. And we got special functions and anti-theft system. But let's go ahead and go to automatically search. And it's communicating. It takes a little time. Still says processing, please wait. All right, it's going through all the modules. So we're now on this menu, and we'll just go to system scan so it can find all the modules. The health report takes a long time, but this is a lot quicker. All right, so let's find a module that we want to play with, and we'll do the SHD, which is the sliding tilt roof sunroof. And like before, I had module information, read fault code, clear fault code, read data stream, read freeze frame. However, now we have actuation tests, and this is going to be your bi-directional controls. And on here we can reset the control unit, delete fault memory, and we'll click on slide tilt. So we'll hit open slide tilt sunroof completely. All right, so let's watch it when we hit activate. And it's opening. And now we can go to close, hit activate. It's pretty neat. Go back, and we can just raise it. And then close it again. And that works pretty well. We'll go back. And let's see if we can find another one to mess with. So if we go to the ARS, there's only actuation tests. There's not special functions in here, but we'll have to get to that on a different menu. I wish they would have added it, in the main module menu, but I'm not sure why that is. Anyways, we'll go back. I mean, I could spend a lot of time in here, testing every single thing out. Let's try anti-theft alarm system. Actuation tests, general, alarm activation. Let's try this. All right, you guys ready? It activated the alarm. That's pretty cool. You hit stop. So far everything's working out on the bi-directional commands. It's pretty neat. Anyways, we'll go back. All right, let's try the seat module driver. The actuation test, seat adjustment. Also guys, I paid like $5,000 for this car, but it's actually been a pretty good car. I've had it for like 4 or 5 years. All right, we'll try the backrest angle backwards. Activate. Oh look, it's going back. Activate again, it goes back. All right, let's put it back forwards. So that works pretty well. Anyways, let's go back. Let's find a different module. Oh yeah, let's try the EKPS, electronic fuel pump, actuation tests. It's probably gonna be ignition on, engine off for this one. Make sure it's nice and quiet. And we'll do the 120 liters an hour run. All right, so fuel pump is back here. Go ahead and hit activate. And I hear it. Stop. And that worked pretty well. So really no issues so far with the activation tests. The bidirectional control is working just great. Anyways, let's go back to this menu and let's check out the special functions. And this tells us to do the same thing. So turn it off, wait 10 seconds, do it again. Reading vehicle data, please wait. A lot of waiting involved. Okay, in this menu we have drive, chassis, body, driver assistance, maintenance. Let's check out chassis. And let's try the adjustment of the steering angle sensor in the SCL. And I reviewed a BMW specific tool that had special functions and stuff, and it completely destroyed my steering angle sensor data. And I wasn't able to calibrate it with that tool, and I had to take it to work and I was able to fix it there. But let's make sure that this isn't gonna do the same thing. And make sure to read the instructions. And it tells you to exactly set the wheels straight ahead, and that looks pretty darn good. Setting by eye is sufficient. Hit continue, continue. And it gave me a warning message. Let's see if it goes away on the car, but basically says to do the ignition thing for 10 seconds again, so we'll do that. Ignition's back on, hit continue. And it says check adjustment of the steering angle was successful. And it gives us the degrees. So if we move it, it changes, and it looks like it set it to 0. So we don't have that same problem that Ansel scan tool had, where it completely messed it up. So it looked like it worked no problem. That's good news. And we'll hit yes, because it was exactly 0 before I start moving it. Continue. And that's the end of that. Next one, let's do what we did at the very beginning, and that was successful. Let's make sure it works again. And that is the ARS startup. And I was actually surprised that worked, because there's like so much going on with that system when you do that. Before starting startup, that makes sense, it is first necessary to teach in the parameters. Ignition on, engine off. So make sure to follow the instructions. Engine is off, ignition on, continue. Do you want to start the job? Teach in parameters of sensors now. Click yes. And it's giving me dynamic drive warning, which is fine. That should go away after we're finished. Still processing, and it says all the 0 points for the sensors was successfully completed. Hit continue. Now we got to do an internal reset. All right, it says start the engine and bring the vehicle to operating temperature. And it's already warmed up because I've been idling it for a while. So I'll hit continue. The idle speed is set to a specific value. Okay, attention, vehicle rocks during initial operation. Horizontal, must be parked on firm ground. So you just want to make sure everything's good. It can be kind of dangerous. And I want to be out of the vehicle when we do this. Actually, it'd be kind of fun to be inside the vehicle, but you can't really see it very well. All right, close the door and hit continue. Do you want to start the procedure? Hit yes. And it has started. I love this. It's so fun. Still doing something. I wish I had like a switch or something where I could make it do that, like a stoplight. That'd be so cool. And check that out, guys. Startup of the dynamic drive system was successfully completed, or completed and we're back to that chassis menu. And as you can see, we don't have any warning messages, But anyways, guys, I mean, I could keep going on and on testing everything, but so far it seems to be all working. So that's really good news as far as the manufacturer specific stuff goes. So guys, all in all, unfortunately we had some issues with the CDE900 Pro. The graphing, they still have not fixed the graphing. It's so annoying. We had the same problem with the CDE900 original, and I don't know why they can't fix that, because it kind of defeats the purpose of using a graph if that scale goes all over the place and you can't even read it. So that's kind of unfortunate. So they always seem to be working on it. It's just that part has not been fixed. And then also the second thing was the lag. We got a lot of lag looking at all the data. I think if you bring up just like a few data PIDs at one time, you wouldn't have as much lag. However, on the 4Runner, when we did the activation tests with the monitoring data, you couldn't select just a couple of them. It brought all of them up and it was super duper laggy. So that was a little unfortunate. And then also we're still having some connection issues. You know, I tried to connect it to my van just with the basic OBD2, and that van is OBD2, and it would not connect for some reason. And it's definitely not a problem with the van, because the basic Mucar OBD2 reader connected to it just fine, no issues. However, this just refused to connect to OBD2. However, if we probably went into the diagnosis section with the Ford specific stuff, it probably would have connected. I didn't really test it because I was just trying to look at the emissions monitor before I emissions tested it. However, I will say the bi-directional controls in the special functions work very well, and that's not surprising because Mucar has something to do with ThinkCar. They're like the same company or something. I'm not exactly sure how it works. I'm not even sure how any of these like cheap scan tool companies work. I just like them a lot because it gives a lot of power to, you know, your average mechanic or your DIY kind of person, and the manufacturers are always trying to shut that stuff down because they don't like it. They want you to always take your car to them or buy a new car. But it's really cool to be able to have all this kind of access to modern vehicles. So if we didn't have all those issues with this scan tool, I would be able to recommend it. However, for now, it's a little hard to recommend. The upgrades for this is kind of interesting because you could basically buy this and get your OBD2 stuff, and then when you need something else, you could always, you know, pay for it. And it's cool, once you pay for it, you have it for life. However, there are a few things to consider with that. It does get a bit pricey when you buy the full manufacturer vehicle software. However, if you just need it like BMW Mini Rolls-Royce, you know, that kind of makes sense. But if you need it like all of them, it's going to get a little bit too pricey in my opinion. I wish they had a price option where you could just buy everything. So it is cool that you can pay one time and you get free updates, and you get to keep that software for life. However, something to consider is that if the device itself dies, like say it won't turn on anymore, do you pretty much lose all of that software, or are they going to kind of honor that and allow you to buy another device to replace it, or are they going to just tell you to pound sand and have to buy it all again? You know, I don't really know the answer to that, but that is one thing to consider. But since I can't really recommend this scan tool, one that I would recommend is by ThinkCar, and this is the Think Diag, and it doesn't come with this longer cable, but it's just like a dongle basically, and this will connect to your phone. And I actually bought this one with my own money. So basically I bought this thing for like 80 or 90 bucks, and I get an entire year included with pretty much all software, all the bi-directional controls and special functions and everything, and even coding and programming. After that, it's only like 70 bucks a year. And the nice thing about the subscription model is that the company always has an incentive to make sure everything works right and to keep bringing out updates, because if they don't, you know, people aren't going to pay for their subscription. And I have used this quite a bit, even at work, and I haven't had any issues with it. I was able to pull, you know, the parking brake motors to do the rear brakes on a newer BMW, and it basically paid for itself when I did one job. I fixed this one lady's car that had a problem with the purge valve, and the dealer was actually trying to sell her a whole fuel tank, but it was just the purge valve, and I was able to get her past emissions and the permanent fault cleared, no problem. And that basically paid for this plus. So I would definitely recommend this one. It connects to your phone. It's pretty fast. The only couple things that this doesn't have so far that I've noticed that this does have is the multi-graph. You can bring up like single data PID graphs for this one, but it doesn't seem like you can do a multi-graph on your phone. However, I would say this is much faster than this one because it basically uses your phone's computing power. And also, I haven't checked it recently after updates and stuff, but it would not differentiate different fault codes like permanent, current, and pending. It wouldn't say those words on the fault codes for some reason. They may have fixed that in an update, but it's not like a huge deal. But all the bidirectional controls and stuff work just fine. I believe they use the same kind of software as far as the manufacturer specific stuff goes, because both of these companies are kind of related. But anyways, guys, I will leave links to both of these down in the description below, and maybe later down the road I will make a review video on this guy. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope this video was helpful, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace out.